Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kitty's Kitchen. I'm back. It's been a little bit of a long hiatus since I've done a video, but that's because I've been busy doing nothing. Okay, so tonight on the menu is cornbread. So I've got all the ingredients out. I can show you. First, we have the cornmeal. You can get either yellow or white. This one's a yellow cornmeal, which will make it look a little bit more corny, I guess, if you will. We got baking soda, baking powder, salt, buttermilk, 2 cups buttermilk, and then we also have baking grease, which I've saved from making bacon in my kitchen. And preferably, you're going to want to use a black iron skillet. So I've got a couple of bowls out here. This is for the wet ingredients in here. We've got a couple of eggs, 2 eggs in here for the wet ingredients, and I'm going to put the dry ingredients in here. So first of all, let's just start with the dry ingredients, which is cornmeal. Actually, it's not really true that I haven't been doing anything. I mean, I've been Zooming, poetry Zooming, and I've been visiting some restaurants here and there outside. So I've been visiting with some friends who I haven't seen in a while, and trying to keep up with friends that I try to see on a more regular basis. So it's been kind of a mix of doing nothing and doing something, I guess, if you will. It's still coronavirus time, and I still don't have a job. I'm still waiting on the job that I used to have, but we'll see if that happens. Some people are getting some relief, like unemployment benefits or pandemic unemployment assistance, which is the PUE program. I'm trying to apply for that. So I'm okay for the time being. But anyway, so it's a cup and 3/4 cup of cornmeal. And then we want to put in some baking powder, a teaspoon of baking powder and baking salt. So this, or baking soda. This is baking soda. So we get, let's get a teaspoon of this. Teaspoon of baking soda. And I'll just put the done ingredients in the sink because I don't have any more room for any more ingredients. Okay, and the baking powder. Into the cornmeal. And then it's just a teaspoon of each with a teaspoon of salt. And I'll measure it over the sink because it usually goes over a little bit. But we just got done with the election, and some of us are happy, I guess, and some of us are not so happy. You know, Trump is going against Biden in this particular election, and it's not looking so good for Trump at the moment. It looks like it's not called yet, but I don't want to say anything. But some people, I think a lot of Americans are having anxiety that it's not called yet, including myself. So on to baking. So I've got these nice dry ingredients in here. I'm going to mix them together with a spoon. Okay, there you go. And with this baking grease, it calls for a tablespoon. And I'll just go ahead and dip into this jar here. And this is what makes cornbread really nice, is this bacon grease or bacon fat. I guess you could use other things like um, oil. But I think that this particular recipe is very good with just bacon fat. And this actually is a recipe that I got from the Joy of Cooking cookbook, which is a classic. And they've got some really good recipes in the Joy of Cooking cookbook. I don't actually have a copy of the Joy of Cooking cookbook because I don't own a copy of that. But my mom has a copy, so she took a picture and sent it to me because I remember making this many years ago and it turning out really good. So I'm going to try it again this way. So the bacon grease in the cast iron skillet. Let's see if we can see everything. Can you see it? Okay. Okay, so while that melts in there, let's get the wet ingredients. So we have 2 eggs. Oop, the shell. Okay. 2 large eggs. And 2 cups of buttermilk. So let's just measure it out. 1 cup. Oh, that's a little bit more than a cup. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and whisk. I guess we whisk. Let's use the whisker. We can whisk the wet ingredients, which is the egg and the buttermilk here. So just go ahead and whisk till the egg breaks. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this wet ingredients into the cornmeal dry ingredients. So I'm going to do that. In the meantime, I'll shush around this bacon grease. I need to figure out how much to put the oven on. Hold on. Okay, hello. Okay, so you want to preheat your oven to 450, which is pretty high. And then you want to wait until your bacon grease is a little bit hot or smoky or whatever. So we're going to do that. I just mixed the wet ingredients, the dry ingredients together with this whisker. And we've got like a nice consistency here, like a nice yellow consistency. And when the bacon grease gets warm enough, and you want to use probably a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more, I don't know, depending on how much bacon grease you want to have in there, but it's really nice to have it in there. So about a tablespoon or so. I put a little bit more than a tablespoon because I like it. You know, I want to try it with a little bit more bacon grease because bacon grease in moderation can be good for you. Or bacon fat, or pork fat, I should say. Okay, so as soon as this starts to heat up and smoke, then I'll put this cornbread mixture in here, and then I'll put it in the oven. And you want to put it in, they said to put it in the top 3rd rack. So let's see. So I'll put it up here. Okay, so now it's smoking. So let's put that in there. good. And then now I'm gonna put it in my top oven here, the top third rack, which is like right here, this top third. Right up there. That's what they say to do, and for 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the timer on, and then I'll come back at you when taking the cornbread out, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, thanks. See you in a minute. Bye. Okay, here I'm back. The cornbread's now out of the oven. The oven was really hot. 450 is a really high temperature, so maybe use a double pot holder in order to get it out, because it was a little, I had to quickly put it down. But anyway, here's the cornbread. Looks done. I think that it's okay to stick with just 1 tablespoon of baking grease. Don't get too crazy on the baking grease, because it kind of lifted up and kind of put a little darker side on the other side there, whereas it wasn't exactly like yellow throughout. It's a little bit darker on the far side. Anyway, I'm thinking about maybe taking this out of the skillet and putting it on this right here, then cutting it. But we'll see. Maybe, yeah, I think I'll do that. Hold on, I'm just gonna do that. Okay, so now it's out of the pan and onto the nice dish. See, it's yellow, but it got a little bit darker on this side due to the probably more baking grease on that side that kind of filled over. So when you're putting the grease in the pan, just really only use just a layer, just enough layer to get the bottom crisp, and not a layer to put too much over it. So I used a teensy bit too much baking grease, but that's okay. So now let's cut it. You can cut it into wedges. Oh, it's nice and hot. So I'm going to cut it into this little wedge. Do you see that steam coming out of it? It's still a little bit warm here. Still a little bit hot. So I'm just going to give it a taste and show you all. Here's a piece of cornbread. You see the steam coming off. It's still really hot. I don't want to take a bite because it's too hot. But it should be good. Very nice. It's got the consistency of cornmeal. A little bit of crispiness on the bottom. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna have this with my chili. I just made a pot of chili. No, fall's here. It's beginning of November now, so even though it's been hot out, it's supposed to get cool soon. It should be nice with my chili. Instead of turkey chili, I have turkey plus a mixture of meat. It was veal, pork, and beef mixed together with 1 pound of that and then a pound of turkey. So it's a really nice chili. Anyway, this will go really nice with that. So it's a really simple recipe, so try it out at home, you guys. Okay. Hope you're all doing fine during this coronavirus time. And if you're not working, try to find something to do, because or else you're going to get stir crazy like me. Okay, thanks. Bye. Have a good night. Bye.